Hello everybody, let me tell you a new story today. Today's story comes from Ni. He is from Zhejiang province and worked at a real estate company in Bengbu, Anhui province after graduating from university years ago. The story today is based on his real experience. Ni's company was filled with young people who often play basketball, go for walks, or play online games together after work. They all get along very pleasantly. In June 2014, when the company's business was not busy, the company leaders organized a trip for everyone to Tai'an, Shandong province. The trip to Tai'an was, of course, to climb Mount Tai, one of China's most famous mountains. Mount Tai is well worth visiting as is recognized by the United Nations as a dual heritage site for its natural scenery and culture. My hometown is in Dezhou, Shandong province, only 150 kilometers away from Mount Tai, so I have been there 5 times. It is truly a beautiful place. The entire company of over 40 people boarded the high-speed train together. China's high-speed rail system is now very developed. For slightly longer distances, people no longer drive but choose to take the high-speed train, which is a great option. The mainline high-speed trains travel at speeds of 350 kilometers per hour, offering a comfortable and fast journey. Everyone on the train was in high spirits, playing cards and chatting, and soon they arrived in Tai'an. After arriving at the station, a local travel agency arranged by the company sent a bus to pick them up. They first went to a restaurant for a meal and then were taken to the hotel. We won't mention the name of the hotel, which looked a bit old, but since it was paid for by the company and everyone was there for a free trip, no one was unwilling to stay. The leaders then assigned rooms. Ni shared a room with Gao, with whom he was very familiar. Both being from other places, they lived in a company's dormitory and often drank and played basketball together, so they had a very good relationship. Gao was tall and sturdy, standing at 1.9 meters. Ni swiped a room card and Gao carried 2 suitcases as they quickly made their way to their room. Ni swiped a card to open the door, and as soon as the door opened, he felt a gust of cold air blow out. Tai'an in June was already quite hot, but this breeze felt somewhat surreal. Too cold. Was the air conditioning on? It couldn't be, because the hotel rooms had no power without the cord inserted, and without power, the air conditioning couldn't be on. Ni hesitated a bit, but Gao had already entered the room, so Ni followed. They found the room very tidy and new, with actually quite good living conditions. The two put down their luggage, did a bit of tidying up, took their money and phones, and then closed the door and meet up with the group. The tour guide had arranged some activities, visiting some places near the hotel, watching some performances, and then had dinner arranged for everyone before sending them back to the hotel. It was almost 9 p.m. in the evening, and since it was the first day in Tai'an, they did not go mountain climbing. Back at the hotel, everyone had a free time. Ni and Gao returned to their room, and as soon as they opened the door, there was another gust of cold air. Ni joked with Gao, a room comes with its own air conditioning effect, and we haven't even turned it on. This room is so cool. After a few words, they received a call from other colleagues inviting them to eat barbecue and drink beer. Gao loved drinking, so he went. But Ni felt full from dinner and wasn't hungry at all, and he wanted to watch the World Cup, which only comes once every 4 years. much, much, much more important than drinking. So Ni stayed in the room to watch TV. Gao went out with friends. Ni got up to take a shower so he could then comfortably watch the game, which also made him very happy. However, while he was showering, he heard a noise from the outer room. Thinking Gao had returned, perhaps forgetting something, but that couldn't be right. Each room had only one card, and Gao had closed the door when he left. Without the card, Gao couldn't get back in, so Ni called out, "Gao, is that you?" There was no answer. Ni wondered if someone had entered the room. He opened the bathroom door and looked into the room, but there was no one. The room was cold, and Ni was still wet from the shower. Feeling very chilly, he decided to hurry up and finish his shower first. After the shower, Ni wrapped himself in a bath towel and came out, only to find out that the room lights were off. He was puzzled for a moment, wondering who had turned off the lights. Instead of turning on the lights, he directly turned on the TV, turned it to CCTV5 sports channel, and lay on the bed to watch TV. But after all, it had been a tiring day, and Ni fell asleep without realizing it. He did not know what time it was when he turned over and felt that the room was very bright. Ni was still half asleep, his eyes not yet open, when he heard another sound in the room besides the game. A rhythmic and regular sound, but not from the TV. When Ni figured out what the sound was, he understood what was happening. Someone was repeatedly switching the room lights on and off near the door. Oh, what was going on? Who was there? The switch was near the bathroom door, but Ni was lying on the bed and couldn't see that corner. Ni called out, "Who there?" "Gao, is that you?" After asking this question, the lights went out. The lights went off with a click. Besides the sound of the game on TV, the room was very quiet. The air seemed to solidify, and there were no other sounds. You can imagine the scene. You are staying in a hotel room where no one else should be able to enter. You are sleeping when you suddenly wake up and someone is repeatedly switching the room lights on and off from an invisible corner. You don't know who it is, how they got in, and why they're doing this. It's terrifying to think about it. Ni slowly reached for his phone. It was 11:30 p.m. and Gao hadn't returned yet. Then he found the remote control and turned up the volume on the TV. Ni was very nervous, but dared not to look or move, comforting himself by thinking there must be something wrong with the room's wiring. In fact, he did not believe it himself. Someone must be pressing the switch. Then he comforted himself again, thinking he must have heard wrong. Not to think about it, not to think about it. The lights were broken. But in the end, he still didn't dare to get up and check the switch. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, startlingly as if he had been electrocuted. Fortunately, it was Gao returning. He needed to open the door, and he felt as if he had been granted a reprieve. He turned on the flashlight on his phone and went to open the door. To open the door, he had to walk to the bathroom door, where the switch was. He did not want to look at the switch, but Subconsciously, he still shone his flashlight on it. Ni almost sat down. There was a black handprint on the switch. Ni felt his head was about to explode. Damn it. He hadn't heard wrong. Someone really had been switching the lights on and off. What was going on? Gao was still shouting outside the door to open it, interrupting Ni's thoughts. He opened the door for Gao, who had drunk a lot and seemed tired, staggering into the room and collapsing onto his bed without even taking off his shoes. Within 1 minute, he had started snoring. Oh my God. Ni had intended to tell Gao about what had just happened, but now he couldn't see anything. Gao was already asleep. He looked into the hallway. There was no one there. Then he closed the door and returned to his bed. With Gao's back and snoring beside him, he felt much more at ease and fell asleep again. He didn't know how long he had been asleep when he was awakened by Gao's voice. Gao was talking in his sleep. He said, "Stop messing around. I'm dead tired. Sleep, sleep. Stop messing around. Go to sleep. Stop messing around. Damn it. If you keep messing with me, I'll hit you." It was clear that Gao had drunk too much and was saying in his sleep. Ni, with his back to Gao, thought, what is he dreaming about? Who is messing with him? He opened his eyes and the TV was still on. By the light of the TV, he saw a person sitting by Gao's bed in a corner of the room, wearing white clothes. Hard to tell it was a man or a woman, with no face visible. This person was raising Gao's head with both hands. Ni thought of scenes from TV shows immediately, where a female ghost was sucking the young energy from a young man's mouth. He sat up immediately and turned to look at Gao, but there was no one beside him. At that moment, Gao also sat up. He didn't say a word, got out of bed, walked to the door, and then the lights turned on, turned off, on, off. At that moment, Ni was about to go crazy and shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" Gao did not answer but opened the door, followed by a scream. The scream made the hair on Ni's head stand on end. It was very sharp and very high. Not Gao's voice, not a man's voice, but a scream that a woman could make. Then there was a loud noise and Gao fell down. Soon, many room doors opened, with colleagues who were still awake or had been woken up coming to check on Gao at Ni and Gao's door. Ni, seeing people coming, went to the door to see what had happened. He saw Gao had fallen at the door, lying face down, half of his body in a hallway and half in a room. Many colleagues surrounded Gao, calling his name, but Gao did not respond. A female colleague tried to help Gao up, and he saw Gao's face. Ni saw Gao's face, which scared him out of his wits. There was a black handprint on each side of Gao's face. The company leaders also arrived, thinking Ni and Gao had been fighting. They asked, "What's going on with you two? Look at what you've done to Gao. His face is full of handprints." Ni did not dare to hide anything and told the leaders everything he had experienced that night. Someone dialed the emergency number 119 immediately, and an ambulance took Gao to the hospital, with the two other male colleagues following in the ambulance. One leader took Ni to the hotel lobby to find the duty manager. Then he went into the duty room himself to talk to the hotel manager. Ni sat outside on the sofa. He checked the time. It was 2:30 a.m. He thought the leader would surely ask him to go in and testify soon. But 20 minutes later, the leader came out of the duty room, sat on the sofa, and asked Ni how he was feeling, if there was any discomfort. Ni shook his head. The leader patted Ni's shoulder and said, "Let's go upstairs and change rooms. You can sleep in my room tonight. I'm alone in my room, and there is another bed. Don't worry about anything else. Here's a room card. Go back to sleep. If you feel unwell, call me immediately." Ni went to the leader's room but did not sleep all night. At dawn, Ni and several colleagues and the company leaders went to the hospital where Gao was. They met the colleagues who had come to the hospital the night before and the doctor. Learning that after Gao arrived at the hospital, he woke up and vomited a lot, had a high fever, and was delirious, not knowing what he was saying. The two handprints on his face were no longer black, but had turned purple. Because of this incident, the trip was cancelled. The company leaders decided that most colleagues would take the train back to the company, to Bengbu, to Anhui province, while one leader and three other colleagues stayed behind to take care of Gao, planning to return to the company after Gao recovered. Ni returned to the company and later received a call from his manager, asking if he felt unwell. About a week later, everyone came back, but Gao did not come to work, choosing to rest at home due to headaches that could not be diagnosed, and he always wanted to vomit. The company specially arranged someone to be responsible for Gao's situation. Ni never spoke to Gao again. He sent many messages, but Gao did not reply. 2 months later, Ni's family helped him find a job, so he returned to his hometown in Zhejiang and left the company. Later, he specifically contacted former colleagues to ask about Gao's situation. The colleagues said Gao's illness was better, but it took a long time to recover, and he seemed much weaker than before. Then he also returned to his hometown and found a job there. Ni knew how healthy Gao used to be. At the sports meeting of the group's head office, he was very good at playing soccer and basketball and could be considered an athlete. Since this incident, Gao's health has become very poor. Additionally, the company leader found the hotel's duty manager, and what exactly did the two say in the duty room? Also, Ni and Gao were in the same room. Why did Gao have problems? But Ni was fine. Ni told his family the whole story, and his grandma even had someone read Ni's 八字 for him. 八字 means 8 words. It consists of 8 characters determined by a person's birth year, month, date, and time. It is a Chinese fortune-telling method. The fortune teller told Ni's grandma, "Your child has a very strong 八字, a pure young body, and evil spirits dare not to approach." Ni heard these words, but he did not know whether they were right or not. However, that terrifying night still makes Ni break out in a cold sweat when he thinks about it. So everybody, this is the end of the story. Please share what you think of this story and your stories. If you enjoy my work and would like to help me continue to bring these stories to you, please subscribe to my channel or like my page. Give a thumbs up to the stories you appreciate and share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Share the stories with anyone who might find them enjoyable. Thank you, everybody. This is Alex's Story Time, and I am Alex. I got a lot of good stories to share with you. Thank you. See you next time.